Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And what we will talk about today is just a little bit about suffering. And one of the things that happens is that when people suffer, they stop seeing meaning in life. They stop seeing hopefulness in life, as the Urdu adage goes. Umeed pe duniya kaim hai. On hope is the word existent. In order for us to move on, in order for us to move forward, we must have some sort of hope. However, the opposite also true. In order for us to find life meaningful, we must suffer to some degree. For it is only through suffering that we know the pleasure of ease. So imagine that there was no such thing as suffering in sports, there was no such thing as suffering in order to achieve something, then there would be nothing that would be called an achievement, because an achievement is measured literally by the amount you had to suffer, the difficulty that you had to endure, the hardship you have to endure in order to get to that point. So one of the reasons that people, when they climb Everest, they feel accomplished. It's not due to the height of Everest, because people fly much higher in commercial airliners. However, no one feels accomplished sitting in an Airbus. Yes, but you feel accomplished if you had climbed Everest, even though it's much lower in height. And the reason you feel more accomplished is due to the toil, the hardship, and the suffering you had to endure in order for you to get on top of Everest. And just like that, every single thing in your life is valued, is meaningful due to the amount of suffering that you go through. And this is why we love our mothers, because our mothers are willing to suffer the most for us. They are willing to take the most amount of hardships for us. And that is what we acknowledge, and we love our mothers the most. And so one of the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran is that, do they think that they will be left alone saying we believe and not be tested like those before them? For certainly we tested them. And Allah also says that it's a hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, in which the Prophet says that when Allah loves a slave, He afflicts him with trials. So if Allah loves you, what Allah does is Allah makes life harder for you by giving you trials for you to overcome. So that is how you become strong. And that is how Allah brings you closer to Himself. Because one of the things that you must understand is that in this life, there is nothing that is yours. You own nothing, you have nothing. You were born in this world naked and helpless. And that is how you will be returned to your grave. And so you own nothing in this life. Spouses, they betray you. Your children, they abandon you. Your parents, they die. Your friends, they move on. People move on in their life. You lose connections. Your relatives, sometimes they are there, sometimes they are not there. Your wealth is fleeting. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't have it. So in essence, every single thing in life is fleeting. And the reality that relates to that, in terms of the religious sense, is that Allah shows you one time, two times, three times, 10 times, as long as He has to, in order for you to get it across your thick skull that you have nothing apart from Him, because you will lose everything else.